Good morning, and welcome to Conversations with Malik podcast show. We coming to you from New York City. I'm glad to have you, and thank you to all who are listening and watching this show. This podcast is about the stories of transformation of regular, everyday people in the basic and struggle and pain of life. Everyone has a testimony. We all have survived the darkness. Now let's talk about how we got to the light so that we can help our brothers and sisters who still haven't overcome their demons. But guess what? We all have devils on different levels. So through conversations, we use the tools of insight to light the path of hope. Let's have a chat and stop running from our issues. If we live through them, then talking about it probably won't kill us. That's what we're doing. Talking, crying, looking inward, so that we can grow outward is the theme of the show. The caterpillar transforming into the butterfly is the goal and purpose of this podcast. When you talk about you, I learn about me. Iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel, so we can cut through the fog of despair into the hope of today. Welcome to Conversations with Malik. And before we start, please don't forget to follow us. Check us out on our website at convoswithmalik.com. There you will find all our social media links, videos, past shows, everything you need to find out all about us. YouTube, follow us on YouTube, Stitcher, Spotify. We got it all there. And today, I wanted to talk about a topic. And today's topic is accepting the fact that I can't change other people I love. Accepting the fact that I can't change other people that I love. This is important, and this is a very important topic. The reason why I want to talk about this is because I find that in relations with each other, there's some basic qualities that a lot of us don't have that is needed to live in a place of peace so that I can be effective in all of the other areas of my life. I find that spiritual disease is it operates using the tactic of the art of war. And if you've read anything about that book, Sun Tzu, please read that book, The Art of War. It's a very powerful and important piece of literature. Because the art of war is deception. The art of war is deception. So what is deception? Deception is making my enemy think that I'm attacking on the flank when I'm coming at them straight ahead. Deception is you believing something is a threat that isn't the real threat. The real threat is coming from someplace else. It's coming from another angle. And what's happening a lot is we have our focus on too many things that aren't really important. And spiritual disease, the spiritual enemy, whether you want to call it the devil, Shaitan, the enemy, the inner me, is always trying to, for my Star Wars fans, if you want to call it the dark side, but it's always trying to, it's always giving me a smoke screen of enticing tidbits of feel-good frustrations, like I like to call them, of things that I can get frustrated about because the ego likes to be frustrated. The ego likes me to be talking about other people. It gives me a false sense of superiority when I'm talking about other people, right? Because I'm talking down about them. I'm talking about some of their character flaws. I'm pointing out things that might be personally wrong in their life, and I can sit there and I can analyze you. And for spiritual people who are blessed to have spiritual growth, gotta especially watch out that, because when you get the gift of insight, not only do you get the gift of insight for yourself, but you get the gift of insight where you can look and spiritually analyze others. But the thing is, it's not supposed to be used for that. And so good qualities can be corrupted. And I gotta be careful that I don't allow the gift of insight that I have to see things about myself. Now I use that to analyze and rip apart other people. So there's some feel-good moments in talking about others, putting other people down, pointing out the character defects and shortcomings of other people, maybe some of the economic problems that they're having, and don't get a friend on the phone who agrees with you. That's spiritual also, because you can sit for hours talking about others. But watch me. That isn't where I need to be focusing my attention. I always need to be staying in the present moment. So you might have an aunt, uncle, a friend, a co-worker, a son, a daughter, a husband, a wife, that there are things about you, about them, and there's things about you that they can't accept. And there's things about them that you're not accepting. And so the question that I would ask, and that one needs to ask oneself, is why can't I accept them for being exactly the way they are right now at this moment? What is it about me that's not allowing me to accept it? Because trying to change them isn't the solution. We have power through our example of who we are and who we transform into to influence people in our lives. And it's very much possible that I can influence you in a positive way. Not through necessarily talking, but in my being of who and what I am, my demonstration, because people learn more from demonstration. People are watching you, especially if you're supposed to be a power of example, or I would say an example of the power, which is God. So I need to take my focus off of, and my energy from trying to change them, to using all of those resources that I was using into trying to change them, to now looking inward and asking myself, why can't I accept them for who they are and be at peace with it? Because guess what? Who they are is reality. Who they are is real. And sometimes it's not that I can't accept people for who they are. If I look at my pattern, I'll find that I have a problem in just accepting reality for what it is across the board. Not just my relationships with certain people. It's important to accept reality for what it is right now in this present moment, and to accept people for who they are in that moment. Why? Because acceptance is the key ingredient of love. When you talk about the fact that you love somebody, love is accepting them. How do you feel when you're judged? Because when you're not accepting nobody, you're judging them. And you might not actually be saying anything out loud. Yes, we can judge people by calling them out on their SHIT and saying, hey, why you doing so and so? And you get on my nerves and you do this and you do that. That's judging. But then, another part of judging is silent scorn. Not saying anything. That's judging. Being silent and being quiet. Not interacting with them. That's judging. Yeah, that's being judgmental. Or kind of cutting them off, saying, you know what, I'm going to love them from a distance. So then you create distance between you and the person. That's a flavor of judgment. And that's a whole nother, we got to spend time on that one, because there's a part of that I agree with. But if you're not careful, and if you don't use your spiritual senses and act with prudence, when you let go in love, it comes off as judgment, being judgmental. You gotta watch it. And I'm gonna do a series on that later on, because there's a lot of levels and dynamics of letting go with love. But I want to stick to acceptance right now, because there's a lot of meat and potatoes here. Because in acceptance is forgiveness. And that's another quality of love, being able to forgive. Having forgiveness in one's heart. Tolerance. So, with acceptance, another ingredient is tolerance. Patience. These are all qualities that allow me to be a better person, that will ultimately have more effect on the person who actions and behaviors are making it difficult and challenging for me to love them. But back to what I always say is that life is school, and every situation and circumstance is class. It's an opportunity to learn. A lot of us are taking it personal, these life experiences of learning that we're being given. And these are all wonderful experiences of growth. And the people who I find it harder to accept, they're actually put there to help me learn these qualities. How else do we learn these qualities, guys? I'm being serious. People pray for spiritual qualities, but don't want to go through what's required to obtain them. Spiritual growth and spirituality doesn't just come through reading a book. It doesn't just come through shouting and hooping and hollering in church. You don't get spirituality just from listening to your pastor or your imam or your rabbi. You might feel the sensory symptoms of the words of inspiration from a spiritual teacher. But that's not getting the qualities of spirituality. That's different. And some of us think we're growing spiritually because I feel the spiritual inspiration from a lecture or a talk or a motivational speaker or someone who has those qualities. I think that I now have them because I heard you orally describe them. Ooh, that don't mean you got it. That means you heard it. And you have temporary motivation. That's why when people say to me, yo, Malik, man, you should be a motivational speaker. And I'm not knocking anybody who calls themselves a motivational speaker. But motivation will fade if you're not carefully following certain steps and procedures to grow. You can hear a motivational speaker and feel good for an hour and then later that night slap the crap out of your wife. Because real teachers give you directions. And that's where we're going to finish this talk, at directions. Because I spent time describing the symptoms and pointing out and identifying. Now, let's give directions. See? There's help. And I don't even want to pretend like I have all the answers. Because I don't. So there's help out there. Right? There's help. If you're struggling with a family member or someone in a certain area, go to and talk to someone about it who you know isn't judgmental. Depending on the area and what it is that we're talking about, you might have to go get professional help. You might need to talk to someone who will be willing to entrust whatever it is that you're saying to them in confidence. It's number one. Number two, it might not be that serious where you're having problems accepting somebody for who they are. Number one of my directions is don't run from the challenge of being in that person's presence. Because accepting isn't flight and it's not fight. Cesar Millan, the dog whisperer, talks about fight or flight. So I don't want you to fight with the person about changing, and I don't want you to run away, because you're not going to get those qualities that I talked about doing either one of those things. I want you to stay until you get peace. Then if you feel the need to, that you can't be in that person's presence as much, don't do it from an emotional state. Don't do it from an emotional state. When you can get to the point where you're around a person and the person's ways and behaviors don't bother you, you'll know you have full acceptance. Take a moment, pray. Go in the bathroom. Resist the temptation to say something that comes up into your mind, because your brain is connected to the ego. It's one of the tools of the ego. The ego is spiritual soul sickness. The mind is one of its soldiers. It's its main soldier. And so it's going to trigger you to want to say something. Don't say anything. Sit there, get still. In that moment, ask for inspiration and help. Then turn around and be kind to the person. I'm not saying be subservient. I'm not saying kiss their feet. I'm saying act as if what the person is doing to bother you actually isn't real. That's if it's possible within the realm of being reasonable. Because there's some situations that I have to be careful. So we have to use our judgment. And then finally, what I want you to do, I want you to express love to the person despite their shortcomings and defects and the things that they're doing that's hard for you to accept. I want you to express as much love as possible as you can. Does that mean I want you saying, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you? No, not like that. Actually, even if it hurts, look past who and what they have become and who and what they are, and treat them as if you would treat someone who's sick, dying from a fatal disease. Because guess what? That person is sick. And in some cases, they're dying from the disease of spiritual underdevelopment. And just love them. And finally, put them on your prayer list and pray for them. Prayer works. Pray for them and pray for the acceptance of them. And if we all do that, that's how you actually practice acceptance. And through the practice of acceptance, acceptance comes. Peace and blessings. Thank you for tuning in to another episode, Conversations with Malik. Peace. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in.